The year is 1956. Laurel residents are just discovering Elvis Presley and rock and roll. I Love Lucy is on every TV in town, and the movie Giant is a posthumous hit for the recently deceased James Dean. But there's a giant of a different kind on the horizon, literally. It's part of the brand new Laurel Shopping Center. And for shoppers and retailers alike, suddenly, Main Street is no longer the only game in town. I'm Richard Friend, and this is Lost Laurel. Since 1956, Laurel Shopping Center has been perhaps the one constant in an ever-changing town. Of course, plenty of stores have come and gone, but the center itself has been viable for nearly 60 years. In fact, it's in the process of another renaissance.
But to really appreciate where it's going, you have to see where it's been. And it all started to take shape 58 years ago when three ambitious men had the idea to not only build a shopping center, but to effectively put Laurel, Maryland on the map. Melvin Berman was born in 1915 in the Florida Panhandle, and was just 17 years old when he hitchhiked to Baltimore to begin working for an uncle who owned a local dairy store. It was the height of the Great Depression. He quickly learned the business, and after partnering with a local distributor named Arthur Robinson in 1938, they bought the Olney Acres dairy plant on Route 216 in Skaggsville. Melvin's younger brother, Wolford, was soon brought in to join them, and a team of genuine visionaries was born. Their venture into real estate development began in 1954 with the Ingleside Shopping Center in Catonsville, which was originally planned as nothing more than an ice cream shop and a storefront they'd purchased. The shopping center concept was a new one, and the Bermans and Robinson took advantage of it, increasing the available retail space and netting valuable tenants, including Giant Food's very first store in the Baltimore market. With its rapid expansion, the team quickly recognized the tremendous growth potential a shopping center would have in Laurel, exactly midway between Baltimore and Washington, D.C., and almost literally in their own backyard. In 1955, they sold the dairy to the Maryland and Virginia Milk Producers Association for $1 million and set their sights on building Laurel Shopping Center at a cost of $2 million. Today, Laurel Shopping Center is recognizable in the air by its distinct U-shape, but at the time it opened in 1956, the center was literally half its size. Anchored by Giant Food and People's Drug Store, now CVS Pharmacy, the shopping center formed an inverted L with only a Sinclair gas station occupying the empty field on the north side of Montrose Avenue at the Route 1 entrance. This photo, taken shortly after the November grand opening, shows not only the early shopping center in its entirety, but the exact location of the Laurel Sanitarium in the distance, behind what is the Middletown Apartments high-rise today. The grand opening would include 27 stores in this first phase on the south side of Montrose, but the Bermans had a long-term plan that would see that number more than triple over the next 20 years, with the addition of the Heck Company in 1964, the cinema and connecting stores in 1966, and the unique Georgetown Alley in 1971. But 27 stores was more than enough for a big grand opening celebration, and Laurel Shopping Center's starting lineup was as big as they come. The center was designed to skillfully blend big-name retailers with quality local merchants, and they did so with the following original tenants: People's Drug, State Bank of Laurel, Rogers Toy Shop, Lily's Children's Shop, Woolworths, Miles Shoes, Terry Shops, Fannie Farmer Candies, Stewart's Men's Clothes, Singer Sewing Machines, Sherry's Jewelers, Liquor Fair, Empire Laundry, Celis Shoe Repair, Frank's Hardware, Dorothy's Specialty Shop, Laurel Hair Fashions, Bart's Barber Shop, C.A. Leopard, Arnold and Marlowe Photographers, Concord TV, Spotlight Flower Center, Melron Fabrics, Giant Food, Kresge's, and the White Coffee Pot, which was open 24 hours. In addition, the Bermans scored a coup by becoming the only shopping center in the country with both a Woolworths and a Kresge's. With a winning slate of stores on board and an opening date set for November, the Bermans began to outline a massive promotional event that's still talked about to this day. As far as they were concerned, Laurel Shopping Center deserved more than just a grand opening, and they would draft an ambitious plan to stretch the celebration out to over half a month, or what they officially deemed 15 fabulous days. 15 Fabulous Days was an unprecedented campaign that saturated the area with media coverage and events designed to bring people to Laurel Shopping Center. And it worked. A special private newspaper was printed and distributed to over 15,000 consumers in the market area on November 12th. Laurel Shopping Center News consisted of stories on each merchant in the center, details about the upcoming festivities, and of course plenty of ads. Tenants and employees were given supplies of Dayglow bumper stickers to distribute, an early example of crowdsourcing that further advertised the shopping center as people drove about town. On opening day, Wednesday, November 14th, the Washington Star reported, "One of the biggest shopping centers in the Washington area swings wide its doors today to the tune of what must be the most remarkable fanfare ever to herald such an event." Beginning with a formal ribbon cutting by Maryland Governor Theodore R. McKeldin that afternoon, each succeeding day through November 29th featured 2 or more events engineered to interest and entertain crowds of visitors to Maryland's newest shopping center, and it was overloaded with prizes. Country western star Tex Ritter, John Ritter's father, performed on the 14th, as did Ray Eberly and his orchestra and the Rhythmettes. Local TV host Pick Temple was on hand as well. November 15th saw a baby parade and a diaper derby contest in the afternoon, followed by a 2-hour live telecast on WTTG Channel 5. Friday the 16th featured a treasure hunt, with clues leading to a $100 prize, and a family night with awards for the largest family, pie-eating contests, and old-time vaudeville acts. The 17th highlighted the fire department and rescue squad and included a parade of apparatus, marching bands, floats, and majorettes. There was also a daredevil automobile crash where members of the rescue squad showcased their first aid skills. An amateur night talent show closed the evening. After a Sunday off, the fun resumed on Monday, November 19th, with a sports theme. Baltimore Colts Burt Rechichar and George Shaw and Washington Redskins Eddie LeBaron and Sam Baker demonstrated their passing and kicking abilities, while local high school players competed for prizes. Tuesday the 20th had a decidedly more academic focus, with spelling bee contests in the afternoon and an evening high school concert that featured, quote, a galaxy of high school bands joining together in a huge serenade. November 21st may have been the first and last time cows were on the property. A milking contest was the big attraction that day, with expert milkers competing for prizes. More high school bands and majorettes paraded that night, and special drawings were held all throughout the day for complete turkey dinners. Thursday, November 22nd was Thanksgiving Day, and with it came an afternoon horse show and equestrian event, with famous jumpers and riders competing for trophies. Friday the 23rd was Fort Meade Day, which included events designed to appeal to military personnel and their families. The weekend began with an aviation show, both in the air and on the ground, with helicopter rides and famous planes exhibited on Saturday the 24th. That evening, teenagers' dance music was billed, with Baltimore jazz great Rivers Chambers providing the soundtrack. There were jitterbug contests and more. A, quote, hot session for cool cats is how the program described it. Popular Washington, D.C. disc jockey Jack Rousey broadcast live from the shopping center. Once again, Sunday was a day of rest, but Monday the 26th featured a fashion show in the afternoon hosted by WRC TV fashion expert Inga Runvold, showcasing holiday and early spring fashions, many of them by internationally famous designers. That night was an auto show highlighting the old and the new on wheels, antique cars as well as cars of the future. Tuesday was all about handicrafts. A sewing contest was hosted by WRC commentator Patty Caven, and do-it-yourself craftsmen competed for valuable prizes. Nationally known manufacturers conducted instruction clinics and exhibits. On Wednesday the 28th, even the family pets were invited. A pet show gave awards for the most unusual, best trained, oldest, smallest, and more. That evening was the inevitable beauty contest, and Miss Baltimore, Miss Washington, and Miss Maryland were on hand offering advice to local beauties competing for the title of Prettiest Shopper. Because this was late November, the scantily clad contestants appeared on an unlikely stage in the display window of Frank's Hardware, while chilly spectators stood outside. The events came to a close on Thursday, November 29th, with country star Jimmy Dean and his band hosting a 2-hour afternoon square dance. The grand finale that night included a parade of contest winners and the awarding of prizes. Jimmy Dean played another set, and from 8 to 10 p.m. was a, quote, monster fireworks display under supervision of the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department. When it was all said and done, the public had been treated to a fortnight of helicopter flights, kiddie rides, free shows by famous entertainers, and over $20,000 in prizes and cash awards. Needless to say, Laurel had never experienced anything like this before, and that was exactly the point. Throughout it all, a catchy jingle played over the PA system at the shopping center, as well as over radio airwaves and TV commercials. This empty record sleeve is all that remains of the original disc, but Berman Enterprises general partner Denny Berman, son of Melvin Berman, remembers the song verbatim.
Strike up the band, come and join the big parade to the brand new Laurel Shopping Center. 15 fabulous days of the latest fall displays and exciting contests you can enter. There's a carnival for kiddies and helicopter rides, famous stars, big name bands, and a whole lot more besides. So join in the fun and we'll give 3 hip hoorays for the brand new Laurel Shopping Center. Boom, 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 boom. Always had that.
And as History Matters columnist Kevin Leonard explains, this was all just the start of many memorable promotions the shopping center would see over the next 3 decades.
The Berman brothers and Arthur Robinson learned a lot with their success from 15 fabulous days. Although they never attempted another promotion on that grand scale, the basic elements were repeated many times over in the years to come. They loved old-fashioned, corny entertainment, things like barbershop quartets, animals, circuses, contests, and they particularly loved using helicopters in their promotion. Like latter-day P.T. Barnum's, they loved to put on promotions that people were always talking about and would never forget. In the 1950s and 60s, Giant Food had a rule that they never participated in promotions that were sponsored by the shopping centers where they were located. But Izzy Cohen, the longtime CEO of Giant, once told Melvin Berman that the one exception was at Laurel Shopping Center, because in his words, they worked. Circuses were a common sight at the shopping center. Whether it was clowns enlisting local kids for a tug of war or elephants parading around the parking lot, it always drew a crowd. This is my favorite picture. It perfectly captures the innocence of the times. The sawhorses have cautioned elephants in case people couldn't tell, and the only thing between the elephants and the mothers with their children in strollers is string. Every year, the center sponsored old-fashioned days with many of the employees in the shopping center in appropriate costumes. During old-fashioned days, the shopping center held contests for both employees and shoppers, offered concerts, brass bands, and barbershop quartets, and ran a free trolley around the shopping center. One year, a covered wagon gave rides to kids. Antique cars were a part of old-fashioned days every year. They would include just about anything that evoked old-fashioned days. Some years, it seemed everybody in Laurel was in costume. Francis Fliss, whose family owned Melron Fabrics, remembers center employees buying fabric and patterns to make costumes. It was great fun, she recalled, and just about everybody took part. When the Laurel Cinema opened in 1966, Berman Enterprises marked the occasion with hot air balloon rides for the public. Hard to imagine them doing that today. In 1966, the shopping center had a double celebration, with its 10-year anniversary and the opening of the Section 2 expansion, which doubled the size of the center. City officials were on hand to cut the ceremonial ribbon. The U-shaped shopping center now ran from People's Drug to the new Hex building. The new section included Suburban Music, Phillips Bourne, Webster Menswear, Tom McAn, and many more stores. A few years later, the very hip Georgetown Alley opened, catering to a young crowd with boutique stores such as Jean Jack. The advertisement called it Woodstock Comes to the Laurel Shopping Center. The newsleader called Georgetown Alley Laurel's Swing to Youth. Instead of a stuffy ribbon cutting, the official opening featured 6 red-hot rock and roll bands and a teen fashion show. Just about any occasion called for a parade at Laurel Shopping Center. The parade for the nation's bicentennial celebration in 1976 had a huge crowd. Laurel High School was a regular presence at parades through the center, but many other area high schools also participated. Christmas parades were always long, elaborate affairs. Some years, the parade route would include the neighborhoods surrounding the shopping center. Christmas was a huge promotional affair every year. Many years, Santa Claus arrived at the shopping center via helicopter. The line stretched as far back as People's Drug to see Santa. An interesting anecdote is in 1969, Sammy Ross, playing one of Santa's elves at the center, was hired on the spot by the owner of the new Delaney's Irish Pizza Pub. Ross went on to play the Irish pub's resident leprechaun, Johnny O'Pal, for the next 27 years. Every year, the center celebrated its own birthday. For its second year, a display of 33 birthday cakes was created, 1 cake for each store. In 1975, its anniversary was an occasion for an air show, complete with biplanes and parachute jumpers. Cartoon characters were frequent guests at the center. There were also comic strip costume contests with kids. There were contests for everything. What kid didn't want to win a Wyatt Earp double gun and holster set from Kresge's? One of the more unusual ones was the beard growing contest with $2,400 in prizes. This is the wildest promotion they ever did, and it also reflects the innocence of the times. 3,000 ping pong balls were dropped from a helicopter hovering over the crowd in the shopping center's parking lot. Only a few of the ping pong balls had a prize written on them. The ad for the promotion shows the helicopter pilot shooting the balls from a gun down onto the crowd under the headline, "Helicopter Prize Bombs Laurel Shopping Center." Another promotion you'd never see today. When Berman Enterprises opened the enclosed Laurel Centre Mall in 1979, they held a mini version of the 15 Fabulous Days. The celebration ran for 10 days in 1979, but this time was largely concerts and dance exhibitions with a few contests and marching bands thrown in. Each day had an ethnic theme, such as Italian Day, Hispanic Day, German Day, etc. When Berman Enterprises sold their interest in the Laurel Shopping Center in the 1980s, the imaginative and Wacky Promotions also retired. Laurel hasn't seen anything like it since.
One of the original 27 tenants who participated in the 15 Fabulous Days was Bart's Barbershop, and other than Giant Food, they're the only ones still open for business today. Fittingly, one of only 2 remaining gyro gliders in the Berman collection, from the thousands dropped by airplanes and helicopters in the days leading up to the 1956 grand opening, includes a coupon for 4 free haircuts at Bart's. I showed this to Bart Jr. and sat down for a nostalgic haircut.
My father? I'll see. He's a good business owner, I know that. Mm-hmm. Good businessman. He taught me everything I know.
Had he worked or owned a different shop before this one? Or was this his first?
No. He came from D.C., opened this up in 1956 here with the Bermans. And this is the only shop he had. But he always told me that his shop didn't start getting busy till like the 60s when people started moving into Laurel. Because Laurel was like a ghost town. And people didn't start moving in till like the 60s, you know?
Did he ever say if there were other options, like when he decided to be one of the first tenants here in 1956? Did it take convincing, or was he eager, he knew all along that this is where he wanted to be?
Well, he knew he wanted to be here, but he didn't know if he was going to make it or not. You know, it's a chance you take when you go in business.
Yeah. Now, at what point did you start to realize, wow, it's just us and Giant. We're the only ones left from the original. You were part of the first, 27 stores that opened this up.
It was us, Sherry's Jewelers, and then Giant. So, Sherry's opened up the same year as my father did. So, when they left, that was kind of scary. Because they were mom and pop too, like us. And that was pretty scary when they left, because they opened up the same time as we did.
Right, so you were thinking...
And I'm thinking, how can a barbershop survive a jewelry store? You know? So...
But that's a, satisfied customer situation.
Right.
You have more people who need haircuts more frequently than they need their
jewelry.
Rings.
Right. That's a very good jewelry store. But when they left, I got nervous. I'm like, okay, am I next? You know? But... And they had customers that were old-time customers that had passed away or moved, and, that went in there quite a bit. So, in my business, I get customers that come in that pass away, but then I generate new ones,
Like the shopping center itself, its history is too big to cover in just one episode. So join us next month for part 2 of our history of Laurel Shopping Center, when we'll look at the 1966 expansion that doubled its size, the 1971 addition of Georgetown Alley, and the 1979 arrival of Laurel Centre Mall. We'll also cover the 1972 shooting of Governor George Wallace. Keep watching Laurel TV on Comcast Channel 71 and Verizon Fios Channel 12, and follow Lost Laurel on Facebook. I'm Richard Friend. Thanks for watching.